So you're telling me we waited a whole extra year for this? Alright, so the Switch online service has finally been, well, not exactly announced. It's been announced since before the Switch came out. More details have since come out today, exactly not that long ago actually. So this video is a little bit it's a little bit in the heat of the moment, so I'm a little angry still, but we're gonna work through this. So what do we know so far? We got the price finally, so at least that. So the Switch online service is gonna cost $3.99 US for 1 month, and this is for the individual membership. $7.99 US for 3 months, and the best value, the one that I guess everybody's gonna get, $19.99 US for 12 months, a whole year for 20 bucks. It's not that bad. It's definitely better than what the other guys are doing. They're also going to offer a very interesting family membership plan for $34.99. You get to add 7 other people to your account, so that's pretty competitive. So price is good. I can't complain about the price, but there are a few things I can complain about. So there's 2 ways to look at this, right? Every other company right now charges in one way or another for people to play online. And the Switch, when it came out, Nintendo basically said, for now it's free, we are going to charge you later, so take this as a grace period of sorts. So when you look at it this way, it's understandable that they're charging. That's what everybody else does. But to some people, and I can't exactly fault them for feeling this way, they feel like they got something for free for a year, and now all of a sudden they're gonna start being charged for that. So it doesn't feel great, right? To be charged for something that you've been getting for free for all this time, even though the company set up right from the outset that this was gonna be the plan. So some people are quite upset about that. Then there's the thing with retro games. So if you remember, and if you don't, here's a screenshot of the Nintendo page where they first announced this service. Back then, they promised, or if you want to be technical with the semantics, planned, AJ, they planned that you'd be able to download NES and SNES games for free with this membership. Great idea, right? Nintendo had to kind of backpedal on that statement later. When Kotaku asked them for clarification, they said, well, you're definitely going to get NES games. SNES, we're still planning them. We're still kind of seeing if that works. My point is they should never have mentioned SNES games then, because there's a reason every other website mentioned you'd get to play SNES games for free with the Switch Online Service membership, because that's what Nintendo hinted at. So I'm a little miffed that they mentioned SNES games and then, well, it looks like it's kind of up in the air. They're not even mentioning it at this time, so I don't want to hold my breath. For any other company, it would make sense. It'd be a given. With Nintendo, so 20 games, and they said on the page that more will be added after. And this word added makes me think that these games are not going to be rotated out, right? They're not going to put out a library of 20 games free to play, and then every month different games, like 5 games new, and then they take out 5 games, or the whole 20 games rotate out. They said added. So it seems to me from the wording, and again, this might be semantics in the end, you never know with these Nintendo apologists, the excuses they're going to make for Nintendo next time, AJ. But it seems to me that this library of NES games is going to expand over time. So not a bad deal, right? 20 NES games, there's a bunch of classics they already put out, they already mentioned the heavy hitters are going to be there with online support. That is interesting. But here's the problem. Some of the games they mentioned, in fact, a good chunk of them, don't have simultaneous multiplayer. What that means really is for half the time you're going to be spectating your buddy play the game. You're not going to be doing anything because that's just the way those games worked. You pass the controller along, you're not playing simultaneously for a good chunk of them. So how fun is that exactly when you're not sitting on the same couch, when you're not talking together? And about the talking, this is another thing. The stupid, janky voice chat app, cell phone voice chat app that Nintendo has burdened us with for all of this time, they're keeping that because apparently Nintendo looked at the situation, they looked at what they're offering, and they said, you know what, in the year of our Lord 2018, that's how voice chat should work. You should download a goddamn app on your phone and then do all this thing. Dude, really, come on. Really? Let me remind you that the DS, the goddamn Nintendo DS, had voice chat. In fact, I had the little thing, the little earpiece that you'd buy to play Pokemon. It had voice chat during battles. To play Advance Wars, right? Dual Strike, it also had voice chat. Actually, now that I think about it, it was either Dual Strike or Days of Ruin. I don't remember which one it was, but the point is, the DS had voice chat. This is, you can't make excuses for this. I'm sorry. This is really underwhelming. Like when it first came out, the justification people, I guess, gave to themselves is, yeah, the app is dumb, but they're working on it. They're working on it, and they worked on it, we assumed, for another year. This thing, may I remind you, was announced for fall last year. It's coming out in September, so the fall after. They had 1 extra year to work on this. Shane Lewis, my buddy over at Re-Res TV, he even pointed out a thing that I hadn't considered. A lot of people just bought, or at least the ones that were able to get their hands on them, the NES Classic or NES Mini or whatever it was actually technically called. I can't recall. So if you bought that system, there's even a lesser incentive for, like, the SNES games on the Switch don't sweeten the deal that much. Cloud saves. So we're finally getting cloud saves. This is very important. Nintendo has always been kind of bad about transferring your game to other systems, transferring your saves and things like that. So now we're getting cloud save. That's good. I have friends who had their Switches stolen, and it's disheartening to lose your Switch. And imagine then, on top of losing your Switch, you're losing 200 hours plus on Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's the kind of thing that would make me not even want to play the game ever again, thinking about all the effort that I put into that was lost forever. Cloud saves are about the only thing in this announcement that are like, other than the price. The price is good, cloud saves are good, but the problem is, again, the Switch launched without an online service. This hasn't been the case for 2 console generations now. So the fact that we had to wait is bad enough. The fact that they delayed it for an entire year is even worse. And I feel like this is kind of like the Apple thing. Apple would put out a cell phone that was pretty underwhelming, lacking features compared to the other handsets from other manufacturers, so that when they finally put it out, Apple users have the sense of gratitude, like, oh my god, we can finally... Remember when the iPhone first came out, it couldn't shoot video, you could only take pictures. When the iPhone 3GS came out, we got that feature, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is amazing, we can film now. Something every other phone could do. I can't shake this feeling that this is kind of the mindset Nintendo is working with here. Cloud saves have been a thing forever. That we had to wait for them to come out is bad enough. That we had to wait this long is even worse. But again, at least we're getting them. But the page says, details about this feature will be available before the paid service launches in September. This worries me because, again, they had a whole year to work on this. But they still don't know how it'll work. They're not confident enough getting into the details of how this thing will work after all of this extra time they had to work on it. Are they gonna wing this thing? Like, it worries me because why aren't they able to give more details other than it'll exist? I have a feeling, and I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that they're going to do a PS2-like approach where certain features were opt-in by the developers. They weren't a centralized, unified experience like Xbox Live was compared to the online service on the PS2. If it's opt-in, the developers can choose whether or not they enable this thing. The experience will be really fragmented. It's gonna be super inconsistent. Some games are gonna have it, some games are not gonna have it. It's gonna be annoying. We're gonna be having to ask on the internet if this game has cloud saves or not. I hope this isn't the case, but this late into the game, they can't give us straight up what the system is going to be like. It worries me. Now, some of my friends, like AJ over at Fanatics 4, he is a staunch Nintendo fan. I'm a Nintendo fan myself. I have Nintendo tattoos on my arm, right? So, but he goes a little further to defend these shenanigans, this malarkey we see before us here. And one of the things he said, and I hope I'm not misquoting him, I don't want to be dishonest towards AJ. I love his work, I love the guy. We got into a little heated debate on Twitter over this thing, but I love the guy. It's just a game. It's just a game, right? We don't have to fight. We're all friends here. But he did say, faced with my criticism towards the Switch online service, he says something to the tune of, again, I'm paraphrasing, he might have said something a little bit different, but I felt like what he was trying to say is, you know, Izzy, the PSN didn't have any of those things when it came out, so why are you expecting the Switch online service to have these things? Isn't that unfair? And to that I say, well, the PSN came out 12 years ago. We're not judging the services we have today, contrasting them with the things we got 12 years ago. It doesn't... our expectations were different in 2006, right? So I don't like that argument. I don't buy it. AJ also says, you know, Nintendo never actually promised, set in stone, that we'd get SNES games. It was planned for when this thing came out. So again, vague promises and under-delivering, bad practices. In my opinion, if they weren't certain that this thing could be pulled off, why even say it? Why even mention it? Why promise something that you don't have down yet? You don't have that shit down. Don't promise it then. Wait for this thing to come out, and then on the day that it drops, say, hey, on top of all the things that we got down on this thing, you're also going to be able to play NES games on the house. There you go, free with your subscription. Nobody will be complaining. Nobody be complaining. This whole thing with the 20 free, right? Free with the subscription, you're paying for it in one way or another. NES games makes me concerned for the future of Virtual Console. Nintendo has been mum on that. They haven't said much at all, and their partners, who you would expect to put out games on the Virtual Console, are doing their own thing with retro game releases and things like that. So this is further indication, it seems, that Virtual Console is, it's not even like a fifth priority. Nintendo is just not going to bother with it. So there's that. It's a bummer. Considering the power under the hood of the Switch, I envision this future where you'd have the entire Nintendo catalog, perhaps even up to, say, the Wii? Could it run the Wii? The Wii came out in what, 2006, right? So I'm pretty confident that the Switch has the hardware to run Wii games. Can you imagine if it had access to the GameCube library, to the Wii library? We'd have so many goddamn games on the system. It'd be incredible to replay those games, play them on the go. But I'm no longer, I straight up, I'm confident to say right now that I don't think Virtual Console is even happening anymore. Anyway, I'm a little disappointed with this announcement. I will get an account because, I mean, I'll need to play online, right? So I guess I have no choice. My hands are tied. And, well, 20 bucks a year, that's nothing. That's like, what, 2 Big Mac meals, I guess? It's not a bad deal, right? The NES games, even though, you know, we don't know exactly what we're gonna get. We don't know if games are gonna be added or rotated out. We don't know which of these games are actually going to work in multiplayer in a significant manner. But it's not a bad deal. I'll give you that. Overall, not a bad deal. But they had an extra year. If you take 1 extra year to work on a project, I would hope you're going to bring something mind-blowing to the table. And this isn't it. But as always, let me know how you feel about this. Are you on the camp that thinks that we're being too harsh on Nintendo? You're happy with what we're getting out of the Switch and this is just icing on the cake? Or, like myself, did you expect a little bit more? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're new here, as always, subscribe, leave a like, just click things down there. I don't even care what you click. Just talk to me, just interact with us, join the conversation, hit the bell, because YouTube sucks at letting you know that I put out new videos here. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.